What's up everybody, Johnnie Omega here, giving you my review of Captain Marvel. This is the 21st movie in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and if you're not on board by now, it's not too late, but boy do you got some catching up to do. This movie stars Brie Larson, Samuel Jackson, and Ben Mendelsohn. Brie Larson plays the title character of Captain Marvel, who's a soldier in a war between two alien races and doesn't remember anything prior to 6 years earlier. So through the course of events in the film, she not only discovers who she used to be, but also her true potential of who she is now. From an acting standpoint, I think the movie really took advantage of the talent that they had in this film. My favorite performance, hands down, was actually Ben Mendelsohn, but I'm really not surprised because I love the way this guy plays the villain. Ever since I really paid attention to him in The Dark Knight Rises, I always look forward to him playing a villain in a movie because I know even if the movie sucks, he's gonna do a good job. He just plays the villain character so well. Another standout I would say is Samuel Jackson. His portrayal of Nick Fury in this movie was probably the best I've ever seen. I definitely bought into his portrayal of a guy who's coming into contact with this outer space stuff for the first time. And I love this transition from how he is at the beginning of this movie to pretty much how he is when you first see him in Iron Man. The only criticism I would really give is the way that Brie Larson actually plays Captain Marvel. It isn't bad, but there's nothing about her performance that makes you think she's the only one that can play that character. I don't really think she embodies her character the same way Robert Downey Jr. or Chris Evans or even more recently Chadwick Boseman did when they played their characters for the first time. She definitely left a lot to be desired when it comes to making the character hers, which is a little bit disappointing, especially when you consider that she's supposed to be the most powerful character in the whole MCU. And something else that I really want to bring up, and I hope this gets the attention it deserves when people talk about this movie, and that's the CGI that was used to de-age Samuel Jackson. Because I knew he was going to be de-aged for this movie, and I know how costly and time sensitive that whole process is, I didn't really expect him to be in the movie as much as he was. Over the years, Marvel has gotten progressively better with their de-aging process, and I still think that what they did with Kurt Russell is actually the best work that they've done, but when you consider that those were just flashbacks, and they did this with Samuel Jackson through the entire movie, it's an amazing thing that they pulled off. And I like the music selections that were done in this movie too. This movie takes place in 95, and based on some of the songs in it, this is obviously late 95. So as you're going around town, you see a lot of things that were popular in 95, but when it comes to the music, I like the way that it was actually used. Like sometimes a song will be playing, and then as the scene progresses, you realize that it's just that song playing on the radio, but then there were other times that when they used that song, it was actually the background song of the scene. Movies back then did that a lot, so it was nostalgic for me to see them do that in this movie. The biggest weakness I would say in this movie though is the writing. There are certain elements in this movie that you've seen in other movies and you've actually seen them done better in other movies. The whole remembering your past aspect, the fish out of water scenarios, even the buddy cop situations. None of those things were done particularly well because the writers kept jumping from one scenario to the next. They didn't really focus on anything long enough to make that particular thing work well. And from a writing aspect, there's no real character arc for Captain Marvel. She's the same badass at the end that she was at the very beginning of the movie. The only difference is she's more powerful. She never had to overcome any real obstacle or circumstance, and any progression in her powers was very minimally attached to the story that was going on. The cohesiveness of a story is usually the strong point of an MCU movie, especially more recently, but this movie actually felt more like a Phase 1 movie than a movie that's near the end of Phase 3. So in conclusion, the story was good, but not very well written. The effects were good, especially the CGI work that was done to Sam Jackson. And another place this movie lacked was the fight scenes, because it was really only one good one out the entire movie. Overall, the movie could have been better, but it wasn't by any means a bad movie. It was good, but not great, but good enough to recommend seeing. All that being said, I'd say this movie is worth a watch. So comment below and let me know what you guys thought of the movie. And also, where would you guys rank this on the list with other MCU movies? Off the top of my head, I'd say this movie is somewhere near 15. Somewhere in the middle of the pack, probably the lower end of the middle, but definitely not top 10. Oh yeah, and make sure you guys stick around to the very end because there are 2 end credit scenes. Not gonna spoil it, but the first end credit scene is easily one of the best end credit scenes that Marvel's ever done. Thanks for watching. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button to see what we got coming next.